Well, as many Americans plan their summer travel, some are cashing in on unused miles to fit the bill. However, some frequent flyer members are finding out that redeeming those miles may not be as easy as they thought it would be. So let's bring in CBS News senior travel advisor Peter Greenberg to talk a little bit more about this. Listen, people have been racking up those miles over the pandemic. They weren't going anywhere, and tickets are really expensive, so this seems like a perfect match. There's a recent study by McKinsey Consulting Group. It estimated about 30 trillion unredeemed miles were sitting out there in various accounts. What are some factors that contribute to the number of unused miles?
Very simple. The redemption rates are so low. The airlines control them. Even before the pandemic, the actual redemption rate was only about 8% of all the miles that was earned. So think about that. 30 trillion unused miles, not because they weren't redeemed willingly, because they just couldn't get them redeemed. The airlines made it too hard. And now you saw all the miles that were earned on the ground during the pandemic, people using their credit cards, even more miles in their account. That's the good news. The bad news is, how do you redeem them? And right now it's not easy because the airlines have cut back on flights. They've cut back on routes. Almost all the planes are full with revenue passengers, and the airlines are not exactly inclined to displace a revenue passenger and give you that award ticket.
So there's many frequent flyer members, as they try to redeem their travel miles. Give us an idea of what the red tape is like. What are some of the hoops that they have to jump through, and how can they get around that?
Well, first of all, they made it even tougher to earn the miles. In the old days, if you flew 2,500 miles, even if you were in the back of the plane, you got 2,500 miles. Today, it's based on the fare that you pay. So if you're on a basic economy ticket, you might not get any miles, or at the very least, you might only get 400 miles. Tougher to earn them. As far as redeeming them, they used to have mileage charts that would show you how many seats might be available for award flights on any given day. Those charts are gone. They've gone to something called dynamic pricing. It's literally a crapshoot trying to figure out when you can fly. The smartest thing to do for this summer, do not try to redeem your frequent flyer miles for two reasons. One, they've increased the number of miles that are needed to do it, assuming you can get the ticket. And of course, number two is, are you going to find that available seat? Chances are you're not. I took a look for 45 days. From now, for Chicago to London or New York to Paris or LA to New York, and found very, very few seats available, and the redemption levels went up. So look at anything after September 15th. That's when people are back at school, people are back at work, the availability comes back, and the eligibility numbers come down. So it's a better chance to do it. But wait at least another month before you do it so that the airlines can look at their projections to see that they're not holding up. And then all of a sudden, you'll see available award seats.
I always thought that these frequent flyer miles were about building some sort of customer loyalty. That was the primary reason. But these airline companies actually make money through these miles.
Oh, they don't just make money. They make more money on the airline frequent flyer programs than they make as airlines.
Wow.
What happened during the pandemic? The airlines needed to raise capital. So they went out and they valued their programs between $22 and $24 billion each. Guess what happened? Delta, American, and United mortgaged their programs for between $6 and $10 billion. In fact, when American got $10 billion for their program, it was the largest transaction in the airline's history.
Thought the airlines were working against you. Peter, thank you very much. Really interesting stuff.
You got it.